We'll go to Tanya.
Well, guys, good morning. Good Saturday morning. Always excited to see so many people on. We have so many great things that are going on, but probably one of the biggest things that we want to talk about. I saw this on posted by Andrea Roster this week. Tanya Phelps has earned her $10,000 savings bonus. So if you're new to the company, you may not even understand what the savings bonus is. But it is, in my opinion, the greatest, one of the best things the company's ever put together. So many companies try to do a car program. Our company just gives you cash, and you want to go out and buy a car, you can, or pay off your house, or pay off things. But that's not a small thing to be done. You work hard to earn $10,000, and that is a bonus on and above your normal compensation plan. And we want to send a major congratulations out to Tanya. I'm not even positive she's on. She could.
Yeah, she was supposed to be on, but she's also a dance teacher, her and her mom. And they had a dance lesson they could not get out of. But she will be with us next Saturday. We'll be Zooming live from Jackson, Tennessee, the actual live training. But the following Saturday, Tanya will be with us. So 2 weeks out.
And Dr. Kristal, you know her a lot better than I do. You want to add something to that? I mean, I know you've known Tanya for a lot longer than I have. I've only known her for a few years. So.
Absolutely. Tanya and her mother, Pat Klepper, they are an amazing duo. And those two women started years ago with the Limu tribe, and they have continued on. And it's so cool. It's what residual income is all about. They are getting bonuses off of work that they've done years ago. That's like our dream, right? Is that you're getting paid for work that you did years ago. As a chiropractor, for me, I don't make a single dime today off of money that I did years ago with my chiropractic, but because of what myself and what Tanya and her mom and her team of people did years ago, she's getting cut a check for $10,000. And I love it. I think it's really, really cool. And they're just an incredible family, and they love this company.
Well, guys, we've got a crazy calendar the next couple of weeks. We're going to run it through with everybody real quick. This is going to be new starting Monday. We're going to start a Monday night, 7 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock Central Zoom. It will be money, MOA, and renew. It will be less than 30 minutes. Every time. There will never be any training. It is an opportunity Zoom to invite guests to. All of the people you see there will be on there every Monday night, testimonials, co-presenting, presenting on their own, all the above. So you'll get really used to it. It'll be really, really good. The Zoom link and everything will go out here in just a little bit, and everybody will have that. That'll be starting Monday night. It's done on purpose because when that ends, if you have guests there, you can actually ask them to just hop over, and at 8 o'clock Central or 9 o'clock Eastern, hop right onto the company call. That way they'll hear straight from the company and see everybody there. It's going to be fantastic. Mr. Fred Duff, who's got 20 years in the industry and has been living on a residual check for about 10 years. This was his ideal. Fred, anything you want to add there?
No, I know this though, with a weekly meeting, you can't always get to one if you don't have one in your town, but this can become your weekly meeting as you're building in your town.
So Monday nights will be running. There will never be an interruption. We will never be sidetracked. There will always be a presentation, even if there's one guest, even if there's no guest. So just know it is a place you can feel safe, getting people to look second time. But it is a business approach. We will talk through the products, but this is going to be about building a global distribution network and setting yourself up with passive residual income for life. It will be very different than tuning in to Kristal's and Kristen's or Chris and Dave's Renew, where they talk a lot about a product. So just know who you're inviting and how you're inviting, because all of those are going to be different. Sometimes you have a product approach. You need to put them on a product call first, but this will be a income producing invite. Then this coming Thursday night, we had a record crowd last Thursday in Huntsville, Alabama. We'll be back Kim Gray and I both will be there with Ernest. Sonia will be in Florida, but that will be 505 Sparkman Drive at 6 p.m. If you know anybody in North Alabama, everybody's always invited. Then that Saturday, we'll be going to Kristal. So Chris, I'll let you share the upcoming Saturday event.
Yeah, we're very excited about what we got. It'll be at the Hilton on Van Drive, which is, if you were here last year or the last 2 years, this is our 3rd annual, maybe 4th. Hard to believe it's been that many, but we've got some great, we're going to do both. We're going to obviously talk about products. We're going to have some great product experts there from Jen Stansel and my daughter, as well as people that are going to talk about how to build business. I mean, we've got people coming from Alabama. You see Ernest and Sonia are going to be there, and Buffy coming. We've got a lot of great people coming to the call. Folks from Mississippi, I mean, Jerry and Allison. So we're very excited about that Saturday. It's going to go for 4 hours. And then obviously there'll be some people hanging around talking afterwards, may even end up back at Hub City that night. Who knows? But anyway, we're looking very forward to that. And then Todd, the next Saturday, I mean, it's going to be, there's so much happening right now. It's like, can't even get all the announcements in.
We skipped over one. This thing's moving so fast, Chris, you can't keep up anymore.
That's exactly what's happening. I've got them written down and I forgot this one. I'll let you talk about this one.
Yeah, so 2 of our guests this morning have exploded Southeast Georgia. So if AJ, if you're here, I'll let you and Stormann tell everybody your location and what's coming up 6:30 Monday night, a week from Monday. And then we'll come back later for your testimonials.
March 20th, over at the historic Brunswick Studios on the waterfront, we will be having our, we don't call it a bi-weekly, it's a tri-weekly meeting with Todd at 6:30 on the waterfront, which is right, it's middle ways between the Causeway to St. Simons and Jekyll Island. So if you have folks in those locations, more than welcome to get them to the meeting.
Yeah, so you'll be hearing from AJ and Stormann, who both have had crazy weight loss stories. I think we won't spoil the goods. We'll come back to them in just a minute. And then that Saturday, which means there's something happening every Saturday now. It's kind of getting back into that momentum feel. So Steve Teglas, we're going to turn it over to you, and then Ken Bailey.
Hey, Todd.
And by the way, let me introduce you, Steve, because you're not always here. Steve has one of the largest paychecks in the company, and nobody knows his name because he's called the food guy. He has actually sent 40,000 people through our weight loss program, and he has bought his own building. He now has a building that seats 400 people that he owns. So that being said, Steve, you can share now what you're about to do.
Yeah, let me interject, Todd. Todd, it's unusual for Todd to say less numbers. He's put, Steve, am I correct? You put over 80,000 through your classes?
Yeah,
80,000, Todd. Isn't that remarkable? Folks, like Todd said, he probably has the biggest business in the company that nobody's heard of because he's doing meetings so much every day, Todd. He can't even get on a Zoom. He's sitting in his car. He's sitting in his car because he's getting ready to go into a meeting. So thank you, Steve. And folks, I'll let Steve finish up, Todd, but I just bringing Deanna Latson, folks, is on the screen as our Chief Product Officer. And Steve could maybe take a minute and tell how he got connected with her and started all of it. But because of his success and buying that building, the company, this is a free event, Todd. And that's remarkable. I mean, we could charge $200 for this event and it'd be worth every penny. So you're talking about value you're going to receive. And Steve can talk about the swag bags and giveaways and everything that's going on. So as I've said on here before, if you don't come away from this thinking it's the most value you've ever gotten, I'm going to give you 100% money back guarantee. All right. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and double your money back guarantee here. Go ahead, Steve.
That's hilarious. So yes, we're very excited. March 25th, the one and only Deanna Latson will be back in North Carolina. It is such an honor to have her come back and share. It was right around 10 years ago that I got to hear her speak for the first time at a point in my life where I needed to make some changes with my health and was kind of confused as to where to begin because there's a lot of conflicting ideas of what healthy is. You know, one day coffee's good for you, the next day coffee's going to kill you. And I remember walking into a room and hearing her speak, and it was like, there's my answer. And so from that, I was able to kind of go out there and start setting and meeting goals for myself with my own health. Drug my grandfather into this, who ended up releasing over 100 pounds and coming off a lot of medicine with his doctor's assistants, et cetera, et cetera. But what I didn't realize, because I didn't set out to build some whatever kind of massive business or to even share this with anybody else in the sense of what I did to get healthy, but a lot of people, everybody in fact, needs this. We're in a society of more diabetics than non-diabetics. The average American's consuming over 200 grams of sugar, maybe not even realizing what that's actually doing to their body. And so little things like that, and me just kind of coming out of my shell and being willing to share what I did to get healthy has led to someone who knew someone who knew someone who knew 1,000 people who knew another 1,000 people. And it's pretty miraculous what's happened in the last decade. And yes, we are going to be meeting right here at our new building, new to us anyway. It's got a lot of history at this building that we recently purchased. It actually was a mission of love because this building that we're going to be meeting in has the Rotary Club, the Lions Club, and the Women's Club of our town. And this is where all of our nonprofits of our community have met every week for 85 years. And this building was kind of seeing its better days or whatever. And city council and some other people approached me, kind of showed me what was going on here, which I know the building very well. And I rallied the troops and my friends, and I said, I've got this crazy idea, and I need y'all to tell me I'm not absolutely insane. And they're like, no, you are insane, but let's do it anyway. And it's really cool to have a group of like-minded people, the same people that I've been able to build with over the last 10 years came together, and we saved this building. And now we're doing so many incredible things for our community. So I can't thank the leadership of Partner Co more so because it has absolutely changed my life. I have abilities that I never dreamed I would be able to do. First of all, to just walk into a bank and say, hey, this is what I want to do. And they say, okay, let's do this. I mean, that right there alone blows my mind. But just, my number one goal, if you're brand new watching this, right, listening to this today, I was waiting tables. You'll hear Todd or Ken tell the story one day, I'm sure. And basically, I just never dreamed this big. My goal was a car payment. Seriously, if I could make an extra $300 or $400 a month and still wait tables, that was life-changing. And I don't take that for granted. To this day, I still find it amazing when I can be ahead on my car payments or ahead on any kind of bills, or when I pay my water bill for the entire year. That is absolute power. And it's nice when you can buy brand new fancy whatevers, but it's really cool when you can pay your bills and feel confident about that too, and do other things for your neighbors and for your community. So I can't thank you enough. The people on here, from Kristal to Ken Bailey to Todd Rowland to Ashley Rowland and so many others, have been huge mentors of mine for over a decade, which is just incredible to know that we've known each other. Well, we've probably known each other about 17 years now, which is on my end anyway. And I can't thank y'all enough for everything. And the last thing I'll end with is remain coachable and trainable. None of us know everything at this point, and there's always something to learn. There's always something that we can advance and to do a little bit better at. It's not about perfection. It's about being a little bit better every single day. So, but I hope I'll see everybody on March 25th. It'll be from 9 a.m. till noon. We're going to do some cool things from 9 to 10. And then from 10 to noon, Deanna Latson will be speaking. We'll have a panel of different people with health advice and expertise. The swag bag is kind of swag. Let's just put it that way. I would say that thing is going to be, it's pushing, I don't know, it's probably pushing $100 right now, each bag, which is really kind of cool. And it continues to grow at this point. We're going to have a link to register. This event is free. I love that. It was so needed that the company said, you know what, we're going to make sure that this is a free event for anyone and everyone. This is an event to get guests to as well. And it's really about health, wellness. And we are going to get into why you need to be a part of Partner Co. Why do you need to lock arms with Partner Co. at this time, at this moment, why you're in the right place at the right time, and what is the plan for the next 10 years of your life? Health, wellness, and wealth for that matter, because those things do matter. So I hope you'll bring lots of friends and be a part of this, because it's going to be a good time.
As the old saying goes, sometimes the mentor ends up getting mentored. So Steve, you have outdone us all. We are all so freaking proud of you. It's unbelievable. You are a shining star. I brag on you to somebody every day.
Well, thank you. That means a lot.
What a story, Todd. Nothing wrong with waiting tables. Those people work hard. Steve worked hard. But from waiting tables to sitting in his Lexus beside a building that he bought, I mean, it's a crazy story. Way to go, Steve.
Thank you. Thank you.
And also the town's coming to him, asking for help and to gather the
Yeah.
community. You know, I mean, how powerful is that, Steve? I'm so proud of you.
Yes.
Oh,
So
it's so
Steve, do you have some local doctors speaking that day like you've had in the past?
Yes, we are planning on having a couple different people come out and be a part of the panel as well, which is really nice. And it's medicine practicing people and people who take more natural approach. I love that we bridge this world of nutraceutical and pharmaceutical because we can coexist. I believe in medicine, but it's incredible to think that your magnesium should be tested first. And isn't it crazy when people start talking about fibromyalgia, anxiety, depression, unexplainable migraines, et cetera, and we tend to get a prescription for those things instead of going, well, I wonder where your magnesium is at this point. And I can't tell you how many times in the last decade, the answer was something as simple as magnesium, and doing it in the right type of dosage where it's designed to absorb, which is so important. And so our magnesium is by far the best one, and it's the only one that I would recommend to people. And we have doctors, medicine practicing doctors now that understand the importance of let's go the magnesium route first, and let's see if that's not the culprit for what's causing some of your symptoms. So
Awesome, Steve. Hey, we're going to get Steve back, and some of his. Steve is surrounded by very powerful women, so we call him Steve and his angels. So we're going to get them back on a Saturday if they can ever find a Saturday to fit us in. But they're always doing their own training. So whatever Saturday you give us with your team, Steve, you're going to get on here and train. We'll pack it out for you to teach us all how to lose weight.
perfect. Thank you so much. Happy
Okay.
to do it.
Have a great one, Steve. Thank you. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
And then the last update is a couple updates on Destin. Number one, the Dolphin Cruise is now sold out. The Thursday event, I think we've got about 20 slots left. So if you're planning to come to the Thursday, and if you're not aware of the Thursday, you can see there, it's the $1 Million Roadmap. We're going to meet at 8:30 that morning, go until about 12:30 and talk. There's only going to be a few speakers that day, all speakers that have made it well in excess of $1 million in our industry. And they're just going to share with you their roadmap of how they did it. It'll be a little bit more in depth. And then on Friday of that week, it'll be an all testimonial day. It'll be from like 10 to 3, no lunch break on Friday. And then we'll break. And then the ones that have registered for the Dolphin Cruise, we'll go on the Dolphin Cruise. If you haven't registered, no worries. You got pool, beach, right next door, entertainment, restaurants, all in walking distance. So you will not miss a thing. Don't feel like you've missed out if you didn't get registered in time, but there is no more room on the Dolphin boat. We can't, with that one was unexpandable. So it is sold out. The rooms, I think we're down to like 8 rooms left in the hotel. So if you're planning on staying on site, make sure you call this week. It'll be the best price you can find in town, but you can also throw in Okaloosa Island, Fort Walton Beach. That'll be the closest area. Okaloosa Island being the best area. That'll all be within a 5-minute drive. It'll be all those will be beachfront, but you'll be able to find Airbnbs, condos. You wanted to share with your team. Maybe we'll do that a little less expensive. You've got multiple people coming, you all pile in a house that you did that way. And then obviously Destin is in that area. So you can, start getting further away from the event location, but we are full of accommodations down here. Although it is a very busy time of the year, it'll be very beautiful. Wherever you live, don't get confused because you're boarding the plane in snow. When you arrive, you will need swimming suits and t-shirts and shorts and flip-flops and tennis shoes. It will be very hot here that time of the year. There will be zero chance of cold weather on those days. So it'll be fantastic. Then Saturday will be your training day where you'll have speakers speaking on, like you got James Zing coming in from California to speak on TikTok. You'll have Dr. Kristal explaining how she, from a product standpoint and from a business standpoint. Dr. Kristal is one of the best ever. Anything you want to share on that, Dr. Kristal, while we're there?
I think she's had some bad service, so she's
Okay.
trying to get to a new location.
Okay, but Ken Bailey, Chris Doyle, Brent Palmer, and a slew of others, Ashley Paulson, a lot of the ones y'all see running all these meetings, will all be training on Saturday of how to do it. You do need to get registered. I think the main event still has a little over 100 slots left. So that one's not as packed, but if you're planning on coming Thursday, that will probably sell out in this week. And the rooms are probably going to sell out in the next 72 hours or so. Like I said, just because the hotel sells out, you can probably still find off site. So it doesn't rule you out at all. But if you want to stay on site, just make sure you get them called early in the week. Ken or Chris, anything I missed there?
No, I just think that everybody realizes that this is going to be an event that can be life-changing for you. The great Saturday events are amazing, but having something for 3 days, and I think we didn't mention, but John's going to be there.
Yeah.
John Wadsworth would be there. We also didn't mention the big party that night, on Saturday night that we do.
No, we don't need to worry about the party. Nobody thinks about the party. One thing we know about our crew is we have a good time. And Steve, we should have asked about Steve, because I think the last part of the fireworks got his hair a little bit, so he got a little bit on fire. But that sounds bad, because I think it sometimes sounds like we were doing too much partying. But truth of the matter is you'll get so much out of Destin, not just being it's the people around that you can learn from. As Todd mentioned, a lot of leaders from around the country. Some of the things you'll learn from it. And I think you are going to stream it. Is that, Todd? Did I understand you say that you're going to?
We don't know 100% yet, but you're going to bring your camera just in case.
Okay. Didn't know if it's going to happen.
We had trouble last year, so I don't know if we can overcome the trouble.
Okay, well, I'm going to turn it to you, Todd, because you've got the guests and the people that are going to do the testimonials today. I don't know. I'm going to listen to these stories, but these are stories I don't know.
We're moving so fast that if you're not around, if you're not in the meeting, you can't even meet everybody anymore. So what we're going to do over the next 30 minutes is rapid fire testimonials. And Anthony, you've got the list. We've got Mr. Steton Hayes up first. So we'll go ahead and highlight Mr. Steton and the moderators. Steton has just joined us. He's been in the company about 2 weeks. He's probably been on the Renew now about 7-8 days. He signed up via a Zoom that Kim Gray and I did with him, and started with the Renew and the MOA. And about 3 days after he started, total coincidence, I was on my way to Huntsville. I stopped in Coleman, Alabama to eat some barbecue. And lo and behold, I was standing in line and Stetson walked in and stood behind me. We recognized each other after meeting on Zoom. Had no idea we were going to actually meet. But I will tell you that all of his pastor friends, to include one of them that will be with us here in just a minute, everyone says Steton Hayes is the best pastor in the state of Alabama. And the pastor I met in Tennessee said he's the best pastor in the country, that he went and did a revival for up there. So Steton, I think you started preaching when you were 16. So maybe share a little bit about your history, and then let's talk about your Renew story you shared with me at the barbecue restaurant that had Ashton and I rolling on the ground.
Okay. First of all, can everybody hear me?
Hang on just a minute. Anthony, can you highlight us up where everybody can we see everybody good, or is it done and I'm just not seeing it? Is Anthony there? Okay, go ahead. Anthony may have got distracted on something. Actually, if you can figure it out, we'll highlight it up.
Can y'all hear me?
We got you, Steton. Fire away.
Okay. First of all, good morning. God bless everybody. Testimony's a little twofold, but I'll start by saying I am Steton Hayes. I'm from Alabama. I don't know if I live in the middle of everywhere, the middle of nowhere. It's one or the other, a little bitty town. So my whole experience with this was, it looked a whole lot like coincidence, just bizarre, but I don't believe in all that either. So it just things lined up from the way I met Mr. Todd and the way I come across the product. But I am from Alabama, married, got 3 kids, been preaching since I was 16. The Lord's been good to me. And but I come across the product doing ministry, and it caught my eye. The first product I come in contact with was MOA. And I want to say something real quick about that before I get to the Renew. I had picked up on it because myself, I guess from playing football and manual labor and hard living, I got a spinal fusion at age 39. And I didn't like that because I was real active. But I learned something about this, is that the damage that it did in the C6 and C7, some of the nerve, my index finger, when I have inflammation bad, if I overdo it, my index finger, I can feel a more intense sensation. When the inflammation's down, the sensation goes down in my finger based off the inflammation in my neck. So I took the MOA. I had energy. I'm saying, is this placebo? Is this real? Placebo, real. But what I learned with the MOA real quick was that my inflammation, I know, was going down because the sensation in my finger from the nerve damage is a dead giveaway. So that's my testimony with the MOA. A week into this, I have a clear indicator through this finger deal I got going on that the MOA helped my inflammation. And so that's how I met the product, I met the, come in contact with this. But the Renew, this one's good. I learned something as a young man in the culture I live in down here in Alabama. If you're a young man and you ain't up when the sun comes up, then you were frowned upon. And we had this little gas station, which was also where they all met to get breakfast and have a coffee. And if you rolled in late, they gave you a hard time because no young man ought to sleep late. Well, by the time I got 40, I learned something. They wasn't up there because they thought they ought to get up there early. You get older, you can't sleep as good. When you're young, you're hitting that REM sleep and you sleep deep and it's rough getting up early. They had done got older and they couldn't sleep good. I figured that out. It took me years to do that. But I started taking the Renew, okay? And in the second day I took the Renew, I woke up at 8:38 a.m. And with my job, I'm supposed to be on a Teams call at 8:15 a.m. And that was the first time I had overslept for work in 15 years. And so that Renew, it caused me I knew right out the gate, it affected my sleep. I slept deeper. I hit deep sleep. I dreamed. I can recall. So that's my testimony with the products out the gate. I could tell a difference. And I was thinking every way I could test it to see if it's real or see if it's placebo. And I am convinced through how it's helped me already, Todd.
Yeah. So I need you to tell the story about oversleeping.
Yeah. Okay. Can y'all hear me?
We got you.
Yeah. So when I started the product and I had took it just 2 days into it, I took it that night and I the next morning I woke up at 8:38 in the morning, 8 a.m. I'm supposed to be at work on call at 8:15. I'm usually up at 6. I overslept 2 hours and 40 minutes from the time slipped through my alarm clock. And that was on day 2. And I hadn't did that in 15 years. I hadn't overslept because I'm not able to sleep. It don't matter if I go to bed at midnight or at 8 p.m. in the evening, I'm up at 6 a.m. either way on my own. And that ain't by choice. But when I took the Renew, I overslept in day 2, slept till 8:38. I called my boss. I told him, I said, I'm sorry, I overslept and it felt good. So I'll be there in a little bit. I wasn't even that apologetic because it was so good to hit that REM sleep again. And that was day 2 on it. That was day 2. It helped my sleep.
And then one last question, Stormann. You're a pastor, you're very busy, but I know you also have interest in creating some extra income here. Can you just give us a 30-second version of what your thought pattern is there?
Yes. I mean, when I entered into it, what got my attention first was the product itself. But then when I realized that you can make income doing this and that it's different than other stuff I've heard. So I entered into the financial side. And what I've learned, the way people's worked with me on this, that it don't have to be so stressful and it ain't got to take away from my family and everything. I knew that was perfect because my job is to take care of my babies, my wife and my babies. And so I need doing ministry and the things I do in a town out in the middle of nowhere, you need extra sources of income. That's what you need. And so, and this, when I was introduced to this and I saw how it worked, I thought this is perfect. I thought it, so when I say a godsend on the financial side, that's where when I think about running into you that day, just the way it lined up. And so that's the part that was not just the product and how my body needed it, but the way it's set up to earn income. That I thought that was what was appealing to me. And that also made me to commit to that, not just for myself, but for my family. And it's been a blessing out the gate. It's been, I don't like going into stressful things because I feel like I have a lot of time and I feel like I'm pulled on every way in ministry, but this has been a blessing.
Thanks for taking the time this morning and sharing with us. And by the way, I know your brother's starting the weight loss journey. So you're about to hear some guys that have been going about 45 days that have already lost more than 40 pounds. So that's coming up here in just a second. And some type 2 diabetes stuff are all coming. But real quick, Paul, we're coming to you because I know you're a Renew only sign up and you've had some great Renew stories too, Paul. By the way, I'll set this up. Paul, 40 years old, a type 1 diabetic, which that's the one we can't help with our drops. That's where the pancreas doesn't work. He's had some heart surgery. He wears a pacemaker. So Paul, kind of share with us what you found with the Renew, with the situations you deal with in life.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's actually not a pacemaker. I actually have a mechanical valve. It's basically where they accidentally found an aneurysm possibility in my aortic valve when I was 30 years old. It was a birth defect. I literally was the healthiest guy in the world. Never had a broken bone, hardly ever sick, all the way up until I hit 30. And then diabetes happened, open heart surgery, so on and so forth. Yeah, so I mean, I don't take any drops as far as the weight loss goes. I'm 6'1", about 198. I don't really think I need to lose any. If I could, I'd like to gain some, if you will. But yeah, the Renew, it actually helped. It helped me from day one. Todd, my mom's Robin, Todd's my cousin, but they sent me over some Renew, and I grabbed a Walmart, bottle of water, drank half of it, put the cap in, and shook it up real good. A little gritty at first, but not too bad. Took it, and day one, like no problem sleeping. I typically don't get up in the middle of the night, even just to go to the bathroom. I can go to bed at 11. I can go to bed at 12, and I'm usually awake around 7 every morning. So 8 hours, 7 hours, 6 hours, but it's a good 6, 7, 8 hours of sleep. And I literally have energy literally throughout the entire day. I just
so you've seen a significant uptick on your energy with the Renew?
Absolutely. I like I said, I'll be 40 this year in November. And I just kind of sort of thought, like, as the day goes longer, just being that you're 40, like you kind of lose that energy. It's just part of, like, age. Not the case. I literally have energy until I lay down on the pillow and go to bed.
Love it. Well, let's move over to your mom.
Yeah.
Robin, since we've got you here right next to him, you're the one that a lot of these lives on this Zoom today are all beginning to change because you made a message on a Facebook post and got started. It's always, opportunities pass so many people by just because they don't take advantage of it, but you did. And you were looking for something for weight loss and something for reducing inflammation. So I know you started with the drops and the MOA and the Rejuvenex, which we call the Level Up Pack. And tell us what's occurred in your body.
Well, I actually reached out to you because I've tried every thing on the market for weight loss, even surgery, and none of it's been successful. And so I kept seeing these posts from you on Facebook and reached out to you and thought, well, I'll give this a try. Why not? So, so far in 7 weeks, I've lost 18 pounds, which I haven't done that in forever. And I started with the MOA. I didn't like the taste at first, but I've gotten around that to where I really enjoy it every day. And I have significant back problems that will never be fixed by any medical or, nutrition supplements. But the rest of my body, I had arthritis and the MOA has been amazing, remarkable. I've had my range of motion is completely changed, completely improved on the MOA. I also have what's called lymphedema, where my ankles and my feet would swell up to the point where I, could just get flip-flops on my feet. And now I look down and I see somebody else's ankles because they aren't mine. They're normal looking. So now but the one thing that is most inspiring to me is the culture of this company. and the help that everybody is willing to give me, and to develop this business. Because our primary goal is not just to help ourselves. We're comfortable and retired, but our primary goal is to help our children and friends and help them become more financially set and free in their lives. So that's what this company's doing for all of us. And I couldn't be more grateful.
Robin, you've got an exploding team. Things are taking off, and it's all because you took action. And I'm so proud of you. I just really am. It is, I know that, we say these kind of things, so it's never said in a bad way, but some women struggle more than others to lose weight. And I know that's been a battle you've fought. So I didn't know you were up to 18 pounds down now. Congratulations on that. It's just the start, though. We're going to get you plugged into Steve Teglas group over there, that next 56-day group, and he'll be relentless. He won't stop you until you're down to the exact pound you want to be at. They've done it with so many in that next 56-day group. So it's awesome. So proud of you. And you went and signed up your daughter, and I thought she was going to be the rock star, but boy, was I wrong. And she can be the rock star. I know she's busy working, but her husband, who I had never met before, showed up one day on a Zoom, and this guy has become unstoppable. So let's start, AJ, with your weight loss, and go ahead and share Danielle's too.
Okay, well, she's out and about this morning, so I'll just share her story for her. She probably may drop an elbow on my head for talking for her, but anyway, we'll start with her. So she recently came off the road where she was in property management, and she was an executive in property management, but she was also gone probably 150 days out of the year. And she said, I'm going to take a job locally working at a senior living center. She says, I'll slow down. Well, boy, was she wrong. It's basically like a nursing home or a hospital. So she's on call 24/7. She does get to sleep in our bed every night, but there's been 14, 16, 18, 20-hour days already. And, before Renew, she's doing the transformation package, well, and having great success. But the one that you can see the most with my wife is Renew, because when she would work these type of hours before Renew, I mean, she's having to call me, talk to me. I'm drowsy on the road. Now it's, she gets home, she can interact with our two youngest sons and be a mom for a minute before, obviously her body is tired, but she can still, it's given her some energy to be more than a work robot. And she loves her job. She's wonderful at her job. So I'm so happy that it's given her the energy to do that. As far as I go, I've always been a bigger kid.
You're an offensive lineman.
That's right. I'm an offensive. That's right. I was born 9 pounds, 9 ounces. So I've never been small. However, I went to Georgia Southern, and here I am showing up ready to play, I guess, 3 technique, and I've never been a D lineman. I got over 300 pounds and never really got under 300 pounds. And so when Miss Robin responded to your Facebook post, me and Danny walk in from church one night, and here's this silver-headed guy on the Zoom talking away. And I'm like, okay, this is Danny's cousin, Todd. I've heard a lot about Todd, but never met him, met his father, but never met Todd. And so I'm sitting here and I'm listening, and he says some things. And I said, well, you know what? I kind of the same boat with Miss Robin. Let me just give it a try. And I was on a Saturday morning call already. When I first started this thing, I mean, I was 1.5 pounds a day for the first two weeks.
That was the drops, the MOA, and the Rejuvenex and the Renew. Is that the 4 products you were taking?
Well, originally I didn't mess with Renew. Originally it was just the drops, MOA, and Rejuvenex.
And you started losing 1.5 pounds a day. How close were you following the approved food list that comes in the drops?
I was doing what you say, it's even worse. I was doing keto. So the thing I can say about this is any dieter that's ever been on here. If you've ever done keto before, like most people's thing is bread. I'm not. I am a South Georgia Okefenokee swamp redneck. Mine is meat and potatoes. I can eat a potato any way you make it. I like it. You know, and pasta. I don't care about actual rolls and breads and things like that, but pasta and then a tater, that's me. And so I become a so-and-so to be around after about 3 days without a potato. And so the drops really held, as I've heard Sonia Infinger say it so much, it's liquid discipline. And it's so easy to follow the approved food list after these drops.
And you're down how much now, AJ?
Well over 40 pounds. I'm under 300 pounds for the first time in 15 years.
And our goal together is to retire you from coaching. You're going to coach for fun and get rich.
Yeah, I'm going to coach middle school ball at some point in time. That's it. I'm going to coach 6 weeks.
Now, for those who haven't met AJ, he's a football coach the same as I was when I started. AJ's probably a lot better at it than I am. But nonetheless, we were in the same classroom in the same jail cell. We've got so many new coaches involved that are getting on these Zooms in our morning Zooms. And it reminds me so much of how I used to operate when I first started, kind of trying to get on a Zoom in between a class, or back then it was a conference call. It was because you got so much responsibility there you're dealing with. So it's never easy starting something new part-time. So everybody, no matter what you do, have that juggle you're always doing. But AJ, you're doing it exceptionally well. And we got the big meeting coming up Monday night. And you signed up Stormann and Michelle. I got to give this disclaimer before Stormann and Michelle, because you're going to hear a little bit of medical stuff here. We treat, diagnose, and cure nothing. But a lot of times, if you'll give the body the right things, quit putting the wrong things in it, especially on some of the lifestyle diseases, they can improve rather quickly. That's the reason 90 doctors in that Greensboro area refer their patients to Steve Teglas. Most of the doctors aren't even in the business. They just started getting big, overweight patients with high blood pressure and type 2 diabetes. And they were coming back for the 6-month checkup and everything had lined out. And they're like, what are y'all doing? And everybody was doing the next 56-day class, which is our products and the approved food list. Stormann, I'll turn it to you and Michelle now, and you share your weight loss, and we'll go to Michelle about what she's learned with her type 2 diabetes.
Todd, before you do that, Mom, I know she's on here. God.
Oh, yeah,
God
we're coming to
her.
Mom. Yeah,
I know, but we've got to get her to wave so Anthony can find her, because God love her. She hasn't named her iPhone, so it's just showing up iPhone. So
okay.
If Aunt hadn't found her, Mom, you wave while Stormann and Michelle are talking so Aunt can find you.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, we'll go to her next. And when she starts talking, Aunt can find her if he doesn't find her in the meantime. All right, Stormann, we're coming back to you, and Deborah's up next.
All right, so I'll probably speak for me and Michelle. She don't like it when I hand her microphones. I got in trouble for doing that at church a couple weeks ago. I mean, all I did is ask her to say she likes herself. And from that testimony, and I'll tell you, this is related to the business. I had my wife stand up in front of a sanctuary of people and say, I like myself. And when she said that, it affected several people that since then their lives have been changed by just saying, admitting the fact that you don't like yourself. And I will tell you, at the end of last year, I looked in the mirror and I didn't like myself. And I prayed and I said, God, some things have to change. And I prayed that God would bring some things into our life to help us make better decisions. And I like what Coach AJ said about liquid discipline. It helps us make better decisions, but you have to make that initial decision that you want to make a change. And God brought Partner Co into our life through AJ. And this is a testimony of itself too, is that we were looking for something to help. We had kind of started on our own, and we were looking to make some changes, and we saw AJ changing week in and week out. As we saw AJ, I was like, something's going on with him. We need to find out what he's doing. And so Michelle cornered him, and then AJ lovingly shared this with us. And so my concern, more than just weight loss, was that my wife is or was reported to be a type 2 diabetic, high blood pressure, lots of things going on with her. And I'll just share it. And again, this is not medical diagnosis, just telling you personal testimony of what's happened in her life. You want to share it?
Come on, Michelle. We want to hear from
Thank
you.
you.
You're the pastor's wife, but you can talk too. We want to hear straight from the woman.
I went to the doctor a couple months, about 2.5 months ago, and they did my A1C and it was 9.3. And they had said about putting me on insulin. And I'm like, no. I said, I'm going to see what I can do to try to, get this down on my own and just take it upon myself. And then, like he said, one day I cornered AJ at church because I was hugging him. I'm like, man, I can tell you've lost a bunch of weight. And so then it went from there. And we've only been on the product now. Thursday was a month that we've been on it. And my blood sugar is down to between 97 and 107 right now. I mean, it kind of fluctuates back and forth, but before it was 236 on a fast. And then I'd get up and take my sugar in the morning and it was high. And I'm down 15 pounds now as well. So
wow, 15 pounds is right on. We have a clinical study. In the clinical study, it says a woman should lose a half pound a day if they follow this correctly. So you are exactly on pace. That's awesome. What about blood pressure?
Blood pressure's kind of goes up and down, but this morning it was 145/87, which is good for me because mine's been 250 something over 150 before. So
are you do take the MOA every day?
Yes, sir. I take the MOA every day.
So if anybody doesn't know this, all you got to do is watch our YouTube video on MOA, and it's got an ingredient there called bioprene. And there's lots of research in the natural world showing bioprene has a great ability to help pull down blood pressure. And then obviously eating right, losing weight, pulling blood sugar down, all that plays a role in bringing it down. The blood pressure is going to come down slower than the blood sugar does. The blood sugar can line out pretty quickly if things are done right. So
I definitely can't wait to go back to the doctor to, get my results in about 3 more months. I'll have to go back and hopefully it's going to be down. And I'm taking 3,000 milligrams of metformin a day and 50 on glipizide as well. But I've been
Drop that down.
I dropped that down to 1,000 a week ago, just my metformin.
But we don't recommend that.
No, I just did it on my own.
We're not telling other people to do that. But her blood sugar was so low that we were getting concerned with all that metformin. It was too much.
So I took myself off of it and I take 1,000 a day and I've been fine.
Awesome.
So I will tell you, instead of telling you how much weight I've lost, I've gained 6 gallons of 100 low lead.
Say that one more time.
I have gained 6 gallons of 100 low lead, which is aviation fuel. So it weighs 6 pounds per gallon. So that's an extra 6 pounds or 36 pounds that have been taken off. So I've got 6 gallons extra of gas that we can put in the airplane now. So that's
besides that I should have introduced you better. Stormann is a pastor, but one of his ministry is with young kids. They bring them in and teach them how to fly. Stormann is a pilot. And I owned an airplane one time, so I know exactly what you're talking about. You can get more on the plane because it's all due to weight.
So 36 pounds, but this is an amazing thing to me. I've gained 4 pounds of muscle. 4 pounds of muscle. I sleep better than I've ever slept. And again, I thought everybody was crazy when they were talking about Renew, but I've started dreaming again. I've been having very vivid dreams. And then just emotionally, I feel so much better than where I was. And here's the thing, when someone doesn't have hope that things are going to get better, they make bad decisions. But when you start seeing that your good decisions are leading you to a better place and that you have hope for the future, it helps you make better decisions each and every day. So every day we make a decision to be on product. Every day we make a decision on staying on the approved food list and drink the water that we need to drink. And then by that, are we unmuted?
Yeah, you did mute. I don't know what happened. Yeah, unmute real quick again, Stormann.
Can you hear me now?
Gotcha. You know what? I think I'm trying to help you, and I think we're going back and forth. I'm taking my hands off. Unmute one more time.
There we go.
Got it.
So is that making decisions each and every day, taking the product, being on the approved food list, exercising. But this is the thing I'm excited about. 100%. I want to be able to have the freedom to do the ministry that God's called me to do without having to go beg people for money to provide for those ministries. I want to be able to be generous and do that in and of myself, and then even be able to sow into other ministries. But more, even bigger than that, is I want to see people be healthy again. I want to see people that have given up on life like my mom, who's just given up and thinks that her life is over, to be able to go and take product, give it to her, and see her get excited about there might be something that can help her after doctor after doctor after doctor. He's just told her, hey, just try to be comfortable until you die. I want to see that change. I want to see people's lives change. And I'm excited that Partner Code gives us that chance to do that.
Y'all are amazing. This South Georgia group is on fire. And speaking of mama, this is mama of AJ, Miss Deborah Hendricks. And by the way, everybody you're hearing from, they're all telling stories about weight loss and different things going on, but all of these guys are all ultimate and they are all on fire building a business. Deborah was the one that really caught me off guard, because when I was introduced to Deborah, it was only about her pain. She was really down and out. I'm gonna let her share what that was going on. So we really only talked about MOA. And the next thing I knew, she'd upgraded to Ultimate and we're signing up people. So she's building a business. So Deborah, why don't you start with what that initial interest was with you and what you were dealing with before you started MOA. You got it on your phone right there. There's going to be an unmute button. I'm hitting the button right now. It's going to ask you to unmute. Hit it one more time. Bottom left. I tell you what, keep working on it. I'm going to go up to our next guest and I'm going to come right back to you, Deborah, when I see you go unmuted. So, we lost Abe. Abe, can you hear me? There he is. Okay, Abe, you got to unmute too.
Got you. How are
Okay.
y'all this morning?
So let me introduce you real quick, Abe. So Abe is also a pastor. This wasn't planned. God must be doing wonderful things, getting it in the right hands when nobody knows about it, because this thing's got to build out from underneath under somebody. So it looks like he's getting ready to bless some pastors. But Abe is also a pastor in Alabama. I can't remember. I think Steton brought you in. I think that's the way it works. Steton saw it one day before you saw it. And so you were Steton's first sign up. But Abe, you also are here for both income and product. So you can share your product stories first, and then we'll go right into the why you're here for income.
Yes. Yes, Steton got me in. Me and Steton are good friends. We probably talk multiple times a day. And I would agree. He probably, as far as just that, it's probably not just Alabama. I'd probably say over the nation as well. He's probably one of the top 5 that I've heard. And as far as preaching goes, very, very, very intelligent, very, very deep, take you deep dive into the Word of God. And it's really cool to see what God does. But yes, I got signed up on MOA and Renew. I'm probably at the point where I play ball, football, all that stuff, and I have problems with my hips. I've got arthritis in my hips, and I was probably going to the chiropractor every so often because I'd be down and out. Been on MOA 2 weeks now and have not had any hip pain that I know of. Usually I'm slow to get up in the mornings. Ever since I've started taking MOA, I have not had any inflammation in my hips that caused me any pain. Usually at times I look like an 80-year-old man just because I'm humped over at times. And what it is my hips are displaced and they get out of alignment just from the inflammation and stuff. So, but yeah, very awesome product. And then Renew, I've never been the one that had problems sleeping late in the morning, but I do have a problem going to sleep at night. And ever since I've started taking this product, I'm not sitting there tossing and turning, trying to get sleep, looking at the clock. I'm out. Once I take it 30 minutes before I go to bed, I go lay down and I'm out. And I've really enjoyed that because it helps me to shut my brain off also. And I've had so much more energy. I kind of got to a point in my life where I'm getting up, I've never weighed as much as I do now. I'd like to probably do the Slender Rise next. But I was getting to a point in my life where I was just sluggish all the time, didn't feel like doing anything. I've got 2 boys. I'm busy, but there was times I just wanted to sit in the recliner. But this MOA and Renew has both helped me as far as just getting up, going, moving again, getting back on my feet, and just gave me so much more energy.
Awesome. And then kind of tell us from a pastor standpoint, if we can build your residual income, kind of tell us about what interests you there. Cause I know you've mentioned that with us a couple of times.
Yes. Well, I mean, I have 2 boys and a wife, and I wouldn't say that I have a bad job. I'm in the government contracting world, and so I mean, as God's been good to me on that side. I'm a bivocational pastor, but like Steton said, we live in a small town where there's just not a lot going on, and if I can better my little boys' lives, I'm going to do that. If there's a possibility and a way to do that, and also help people get healthier at the same time while doing that, then I think that's a win-win for everybody.
It is. And you know, residual income, I always say, allows you to spread the ministry more. I always share that with pastors. When you've got, the more time freedom you have, the more good things you can do.
That's right.
The time freedom is really more important than the income at some point, because the income is what creates the time freedom, obviously, especially if it's passive income. So we excited y'all are here. Can't wait to watch you build out, and glad you've already got some great results with the product, Abe. Fantastic.
Thank you.
Can't wait to go to work. Deborah, did we get unmuted? No. AJ, can you come back live and tell her story for her?
Now you got to unmute also.
Okay. All right. So maybe you could spotlight her and she can just shake her head. So
she's spotlighted. She's spotlighted.
So when you said MOA in that first presentation, and you talked about having great success with autoimmune diseases through MOA, immediately I'm an only child, as Todd seen when he met her for the first time. It went to my mom. So my mom had metastatic breast cancer 3 years ago, and we had a heck of a time, you know, a little small town. We ended up having to go to Jacksonville, that's Florida, that's an hour and a half away, and got to MD Anderson. And so since she had her chemo, she has struggled with her rheumatoid arthritis. There are certain things she cannot take anymore because of her, because of the breast cancer. So there were things that her RA doctor would send to the oncologist, and the oncologist would say no, and certain things that the oncologist would say, can we try this? And there were just a lot of medicines that didn't work out between. And so my mother went from being able to walk and be a grandma to really being bound by a cane and a wheelchair, or not a wheelchair, a cane or a walker. So we got the MOA, and after Miss Robin had some success, I was like, Mom, you just got to try this. So we got the MOA, and we gave her enough for, she took 2 MOA a day for the first 5 days. And after 5 days, it was the most amazing thing. She basically threw her cane and her walkers down, and she started living life again. So she started being able to go to church. She started being able to go to work on time and not have to leave and things of that nature. And then recently, she started signing people up in the business because God love her, she's not the most athletic human in the world, but and she's over the age of 65. So but what is amazing to me is she can put her hands on something to stable her and give her balance, and she can do a parallel squat now on her own and stand back up. And so she has caught some fire in our little community with MOA just because of being a product of the product. And it has significantly changed her life and her way of living. And she's just being a product of the product. And it's one of the greatest things I've ever seen in my life.
AJ, that story has happened 3 times in the last 3 weeks. Kim Gray's mom, rheumatoid arthritis, bedridden, started taking 3 a day. And on the 3rd day, she showed up at Kim's house to clean the house and about freaked Kim out. Now she's functioning as a normal human being again. Pam Dodd, who's a pastor in Coleman, Pam's who signed up Steton and Abe, but Pam did the same thing with her mom, who was bedridden, totally bedridden. got her on 3 mo a day. The following Sunday, she drove herself to church and showed up. Pam says she about passed out. So that story keeps repeating itself. And there's a lot of science why. There's 11 superfoods in there that have clinical research showing their ability to reduce inflammation. So there's a lot of factors going on there. So anyway, we're so happy for you, Deborah. Your smile is contagious. We are just so happy you're running around again. And I never dreamed you'd be a business builder. We might get you in a race with AJ and see the first one to 10,000. Anthony, pull us all the moderators back up, and let's pull up. We're going to two or three quick inserts real quick. We're going to throw up Fred Duff, Mike and Lisa. And if Brian Williams were able to show up, I know Brian's running a car dealership, so I don't know if he was able to show up. But and Ken Bailey, we were all just in Puerto Rico. We got to spend a day with the owners. Everybody paid their own way. The reason we went is Mike and Lisa signed up Fred, and Fred signed up a guy that's going to move to either South Korea or the Philippines now and open up that market. So we were getting them all the details for that to happen. But Mike and Lisa, a lot of you've heard from them. They're small business owners. They own 10 different dry cleaners. They joined us for passive income to get out of the employee race, the fixed overhead race, the no time freedom race, and have passive residual income. Right now they're having to do both. So it's a battle. And I know it's a battle. It'll be a battle for at least another year, but then you'll start seeing the daylight. But Mike and Lisa, just your perspective real quick on the owners of partner.co.
Perspective about the owners of partner.co. We had an incredible time, regardless of everything that was mentioned in there. And there were some amazing things mentioned. Can't say, but we were just elated. But above all of that, we got the opportunity to put our feet under the same table with excellence. We were able to look into the eyes of particularly these two guys and not only get a sense of their mannerisms and the way that they carry themselves and the way that they listen to us, but we also saw two very experienced businessmen. We always talk about Darren being the high caliber businessman, and he is by all accounts. But John Wadsworth is as sharp as they come, and we couldn't be more excited to be part of whatever they're doing. So we're in.
That's right. That's right. And one of my main mottos has always been, if you want what someone has, do what they do. And after what I saw at John's house, I'm going to do what he does.
That house was pretty nice, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's all right. Yeah, my wife was invited, but she was the only one there. And so she was kind of looking at me like, so when are we going to get one of these houses?
That's the reason Fred left his doctor, Miss Joy, behind. He didn't want her to get too excited too quickly. So Fred, you've been around the industry for 20 years. Your wife is a pediatrician of 30 years. Y'all are really successful. You live on a passive residual income. You joined our company, but as any businessman like yourself does, you keep studying it. So after your trip to Puerto Rico and spending 24 hours with both owners who you'd not met in person yet, what was your takeaway?
Well, first of all, I'm going to ditto what Mike and Lisa said. One of the things I've sat at the board with quite a few CEOs of network marketing companies. And one of the things I've often wondered, I don't really thought they ever really listened. They gave you the head nod, and you know, 10 minutes later you could, hey, by the way, let me ask you, and they forgot what you said because they weren't listening. They were on the phones texting and doing everything else that was, you could just tell they weren't really engaged with you, but they were giving you lip service. What I did notice there is like Ken Bailey brought up a couple of things that were, I'm not going to say what they were, that were still an issue. And I watched the CEOs pull out their phones, and it couldn't have been 10 minutes later to said, Ken, it just got fixed. Not only were they listening, they were working. They were taking copious notes. That shocked me. They're taking notes from people like myself, and you know, who I could be his tip money. You know, these are guys are adult money, and they're in a zone, baby, a big zone. But yet they were so engaged with us, they were willing to take notes, and I could hear in their voice, they were concerned, and they were really, when they got something solved for us, they were delighted. And that really impressed me more than anything else, that they had I feel like a heart connection with us. They want to see us do well. And I didn't pick that up as they just want to see the numbers increase. They want to see Fred Duff and Lisa and whoever's on this call to do very, very well. And they don't believe there's a shortage for us here if we just all get with it. And so I was really impressed how they treated us as human beings and, down to earth.
And then Ken, I'll turn it to you. You were there, your perspective. And then Chris, you flew a couple guys out to Utah and met them a couple of weeks ago, and you can close it out with your perspective.
Yeah, Todd, actually, as you've been saying, this trip was set up really for 2 or 3 people to meet them for the first time. We didn't really need it because of our belief level, but I think you would agree that our belief level even skyrocketed after getting to know them. Fred said something really important is how well they listen. I mean, Darren, the CEO of the company, he was asking me some IT things and a couple things that could be enhanced. And literally, by the time we got back to our room, the IT people had sent me a couple of emails and had already done the work within like a few hours of giving them that information. Folks, some of that information I've been given for 10 years and it wasn't done. Okay. And it was done in 2 hours. I mean, they are truly listening. And then I was driving one of my guys back to Charlotte, and John Wadsworth's calling us in response to a question that the guy had, getting him some information the very next day, putting him on the phone with Hong Kong and South Korea and all that thought. So they listen and they were responding. So the bottom line is, as amazing as what we've got a hold of is right now, it's going to get gooder and gooder and gooder because of who's running this deal. I've not been more excited in my 22 years in the industry, and I've never been more sure of the future, Todd. And we're excited. Get to help thank all the people who had their testimonies today. And we don't cure anything. We do cure the common cold, but we don't cure or treat anything. But what amazing testimonies. Thank everybody.
Well, Todd, I'll just say very little. I had 2 people out there, and it's really what Fred just said, probably as much as anything, is I had a guy there that has been in the industry over 20 years. And he said, I've never met a CEO that looked me in the eye like, and they didn't get to meet with John. John was in Japan at the time. They met strictly with Darren, and they were like, I've never seen anybody's, you could just feel, and he said, he's different. And they just felt that difference. And you have to feel it yourself. I mean, I get that. If you're new in the industry, you don't even know what we're talking about, but they're very genuine. I'm confident the company's really what we're going on and what we can see happening. Obviously, we don't have to talk about how the products are amazing. I think we just had to listen to all that. Steve Teglas' group on that Saturday, you'll have hundreds of those kind of stories. But all that said, all of us want to improve our lives. I mean, Todd gives me, Anthony jokes and calls me money man. I'm all about knowing that we can build a residual income. I've been living on it for over 20 years, and I would never go back to the employee world and invoice. Guys, we're way over. Todd, anything else you want to mention about, remember, we went over everything. Guys, you watch, if you haven't plugged into the Facebook groups, all types of things there, giving you notifications on things. A lot of our other leaders are busy. Brent had to be out today. Dr. Kristal had to go somewhere. And you're muted, Todd.
Chris, I want you to close it this way, because we have so many new people joining. A lot of people don't even know you, Chris. Chris, when he joined our industry, he previously was the largest supplier of stonewashed blue jeans in the country. He had, was it 430 employees, Chris? 480 employees, multi-millionaire, and that business hit trouble when the NAFTA agreement was passed. So Chris is non-political because it was a Democratic president and a Republican Congress that took his business away. But Chris, you have found this industry to be better than being the CEO of 480 employees.
This industry will drive you crazy sometimes because of people and their actions, but so did employees. So all business has their headaches and there'll be struggles, but I'll promise you, there's nothing that it's the only business I've ever owned. And I've really never had a job, maybe 2 years of my entire life that I worked for somebody else. It's the only business I know of that has no overhead and has a limit is what you decide to put on it. How much you want to put into it, how much it's going to give you back. The main thing is having the company set up right. And Ken knows this because we've talked about it so much about the company. We know we got great products, but guys, I can't explain to you I can't stand up because I'm working at home right now. And I just ran up here with a t-shirt because I was on the phone with Brent Palmer because he couldn't be on. I never even got dressed. I mean, I'm not showering. People are calling. Why are they all calling right? Because excitement. And yes, I love this industry. I'm going to say one thing. We all three of us in this, you see on the screen right now, have been through a moment when the company had an explosion. And I didn't do anything different. I watched my paycheck. Not here to explain. I'm not going to talk about the money I made. But it was unbelievable what happened at a moment. And it was something you couldn't even explain or sense. And I believe this company is doing it over the next 24 months. I'm not even sure it's not going to take, it maybe take 12 months. And it's mainly because of what Ken said. These people listen. They get the feel of what they want. And there's so many things coming that we can't talk about right now. I think we almost let some things out of the bag. I mean, there's some new marketing people coming. There's some things coming to get us tools we need to do what we need to do. Guys, we're way over. Don't miss out. That's what happened with me in the blue jean business. I was at the right place, the right time, and I wasn't a smart guy, but I saw another guy making millions of dollars, and I just went and copied him. I hate to say it that way, but another guy had this $1 million house, and I'm like, what's he do? They said he stonewashed blue jeans, and he was with Levi, and I just went and did Lee. Simple as that. I did Lee jeans, and it built a business. That's all that matters, guys. Do what you got to do right now to plug into everything that's going on. The tools are here for you. Leadership is beyond words. I keep with all the group. I look down the list of people on this call. Man, it's crazy. So anyway, that's it. We'll be back next Saturday. Of course, we'll be in Jackson.
Yeah. So let's announce that right now. Next Saturday, there for sure will not be the normal time. What we're going to do is live stream our in-person training, which is going to start at 10 Central, 11 Eastern. It'll be a 4-hour live stream. You can come and go as you please. We'll have a schedule out beforehand so you can see what time, what speakers are speaking, so you can plug in if you want to, but we'll just have a camera set up. We'll have some mics where you can hear good, but next week will just be a live stream. We'll be back to the normal 10 a.m. Central, 11 a.m. Eastern time slot the following Saturday. But everybody have a super blessed week.
Bye, guys.
We can open it up, Anthony, and let everybody say goodbye. And thanks to all of our testimonials.
Thanks.